There you are.
Please.
Thank you.
I just gave the boys £7 to make my car look nice and shiny so I can make this video. And what's this video about? Well, after 1 year of owning a 2017 Ford Fiesta ST, how do I feel about the car? Do I like it? Do I enjoy it? And would I recommend it? Well, the short answer is yes, yes, and yes. Now, before we take it out for a drive and I tell you what I like about the engine and about how the car drives, let me talk you through the design features that I really like about this car. Starting with these alloys, I think they look really cool, really sporty, really nice looking alloys, especially in this gunmetal grey that they come in. I feel like it suits the spec of my car in particular really well. And I think the way that they transferred the normal Fiesta into a sporty hot hatch, especially with this rear diffuser section, works really well. Don't mind the bubbles in my rear diffuser here, that's been left over from the £7 boys. This kind of rear spoiler at the back here really suits the car well. It's not too big, not too small, looks really nice on the car. You obviously got these two little innards in the center there, and then these two strips for, I guess, aerodynamics maybe, but yeah, massive fan of that. These nice ST kick plates. Well, at least the passenger side does. The driver's side has stopped working on my car and is yet to be replaced. The interior is nothing to write home about at the end of the day. This is all an 11-year-old interior design concept, so it's definitely starting to show its age, but nevertheless, it's still a decent place to be. You got some ST badges down here. The seats, they're really lovely. Mine admittedly need a clean. I was a handyman, so things got a little bit dirty in here. And also, the seats are heated, so what's not to love? Right, let's hit the open road and talk about something a little bit more interesting. Day-to-day living with the car is really easy. It's a Ford Fiesta, it's small, it's compact, it's pretty fuel efficient. Even though it's got a 1.6 turbo, I can still get 35-40 miles per gallon out of the car, which I know in comparison to a Prius isn't the best, but for what you get in, the fun that you can have in the car, it's really not bad. You can comfortably fit 4 people, you can fit 5 if you really want to, but things are going to start getting a little bit uncomfortable in the back, especially if young Philly's in the back. The car's pretty comfortable. I've done countless trips back and forth to London and my back doesn't really ache when I get to the end of that trip. If I've had a long day of work, it might do a little bit, but not really anything to do with the car. The speaker systems are Sony, which are really good. They are good speakers. The only thing is, the ones in the back have started to rattle and get a bit tinny. I feel like I might have blown one of them out, or maybe they were blown out by a previous owner. So I do need to get the speakers in the rear replaced, but besides that, the sound system's really good. Now, of course, this car doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or any sort of sat-nav, but for where I'm driving, I know where I'm going, and if needs be, I can get my phone onto Waze, put it on the dock, and I can see it right exactly where you are. The boot's a big enough size. I was a handyman for a year and used this car as my handyman car, so I've had to fit plenty of things in here. I've had wood sticking all the way from the front to the back. It fits loads in this car. Now, admittedly, it's not going to suit you if you've got a family full of 7. Obviously, you're going to need something bigger, but for me, a 22-year-old, no kids, occasionally traveling with friends and family, it does the job perfectly. The car's not expensive. I bought the car for 10 grand last year. About September, October time, year on, it's probably worth about 6 now, so not a really good depreciation. Insurance isn't too bad, it's about £120 a month, and then fuel in the car, it's also not too bad, it's about 50-60 quid a week, and I do about 300 to 400 miles a week. I've currently got Avon ZV7s on the front, and on the back some like land sales or some super cheap tyres because I've been on a budget recently, but nevertheless it still handles really well. Obviously it will get better if I had some PS4s or something a bit more premium on it, but even with the budget tyres you can really throw this thing into a corner and it sticks. Now, I've had a 208 GTI before and I've had this, and what do I prefer to drive? I'd say this. It's a lot more interactive. The noises, they kind of egg you on a bit more to go a bit faster. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 208 GTI, the interior was a nicer place to be. You had that head unit there, a couple bits of leather throughout the dash. It was just a bit more of a refined space, and that big panoramic roof was really nice. But I had many problems with that 208 GTI. I've not had any with this. As a matter of fact, the only money I've had to spend on this car was just after my MOT about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I took it in, it needed bushes in the back, axle joints at the front, MOT and service all in for 600 quid, which isn't too bad. Obviously, I'd rather I didn't pay 600 quid, but it's one of them things, you got to sort it out. And now that the car's sorted, it runs absolutely perfectly again. I'm on 86,000 186 miles of range. And now for the fun bit. The reason you buy this car is because it's quick. 1.6 turbo, 186 horsepower. It's got this overrun feature in 4th, 5th and 6th where when you're accelerating you get about 20 extra horsepower, a little bit more boost from the turbo I assume. You can't really feel the difference in all honesty. Something a little extra just to drop in there. Well, my car gives me 20 horsepower more when I put the foot down. Who's asked? No one. The car handles incredibly well. As I say, it really eggs you on to go faster. The noises that it makes, it just wants to do more. Handles really well. That induction is just lovely. That induction never gets old. Every time I hear it, I just want to go faster and faster. Speaking of induction, that brings me on to the sounds that this car makes. So you get a lot of induction noise, that sounds really nice. The turbo, it's not too loud. I don't have any filter or any sort of induction kit on this car, so you can't hear the turbo all that much. I've actually stuck a microphone under the bonnet so you can take a listen to what the turbo sounds like. Sounds quite nice, take a listen. Now I feel like that just about summarises my year with the car. It's really easy to use. It very rarely steps a foot out of line. Reliability, I haven't had any issues, luckily, so far. I've loved driving the car. The gearbox manual, really involving, really fun to shift the gears. The sounds that come from the car, incredible. I would totally recommend, for the price that you can pick these up for, if you've never had one before, I definitely recommend getting one just to experience the ownership. Value for money, it's phenomenal. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe for future videos that are coming, and I'll see you in the next one.